Hi, I welcome you all to this new class of IELTS preparation from Hassle-Free Education. I am Muhammad Ishan Hossain. Hope that you're doing well. Today, I'm going to start the 10 class series for the speaking test. As you already know, the IELTS exam has 4 modules, and the speaking is one of them. The speaking module is basically tests your speaking skills and your pronunciation, your grammatical knowledge, and your fluency. So the fluency and the basic grammatical knowledge are the most important aspects of the speaking test. So you have to be careful when you present yourself in the speaking test. So let's go through some of the topics. But first, let me know that you're here. Just write in the comment box that you are listening me accurately, and you can hear me accurately. You can type in the chat box if you are watching me right now, and after that I'll start. Um, um, I'll be checking into the comment box uh, for your comments. I guess some of you are joining. Hello. All right. So I guess you can listen to me, and uh, can you see the slides? Can you see my screen? All right. I guess you can. Nice to know that. So let's start. In the speaking test, as I have discussed earlier, there are three parts of the speaking test. So these three parts, the part one is the introduction and interview. So when you get to the speaking test room and when you introduce yourself and when you just start your interview, the speaking test interview, you will be asked some basic questions about you, some general questions about you. So those kind of questions called the introduction and the interview. So this is the part one where you will be asked some short questions, and those questions will most likely be about your status, about your current academic subject, your reason for giving IELTS, these kind of personal questions like where do you live, um, where do you see yourself after the IELTS exam. So this kind of questions might be asked in the introduction session. And the part two is the individual long learn. So here you'll be given a task card, and so it's like a lottery. So you have to choose a task from a list of many tasks. So there will be task cards available in front of the examiner, so you have to pick and choose one of them, but you can't see the topic before you pick a card. So it's like a lottery. So after you pick a card, you open up the card and you see the topic of the long run. So you should have some topic, some general topic, and for example, if you're lucky, some very basic things like your favorite person. So if you get that cue card, if you get that task card uh, asking you to talk about your favorite person, then it should be an easy task for you to talk about 2 minutes without interruption. So that's the individual long run part where you get to talk without interruption for 2 minutes. And in the task card, there will be some questions that you have to answer within this 2 minutes as well, but you cannot stop. So this is a test of your English language speaking ability actually. So this is the most important phase of the IELTS speaking test. The third one is the two-way discussion where the examiner will ask you questions like the part one, but the questions will be descriptive. So they will expect you to answer in a descriptive way where you will be answering with reasons and examples to describe or to explain your basic answer. So here, unlike the part one, you're expected to give reasons, give explanations. In the part one, you're expected to give short answers using 2 or 3 sentences, but here they expect you to give some broad answers in the part three of the IELTS speaking test. So basically, that's the idea. So now let us see about the marking criteria of the IELTS speaking test. Without seeing the marking criteria, it will be tough for you to understand in which part you have to work on. So that's why I want to show you the criteria of marking or judging your ability officially. So I want to show you the official marking criteria. I will be taking just a moment to open up that document. Just a moment. I'll be opening up the document. Just let me know whether you are able to see the PDF file or the document that I have opened just now. If you're able to see, or if it's gloomy, if it's not clear, that's because of your internet connection. That's not on me. So if you can't see the document properly, that's most likely because of your poor internet connection. So just let me know that if you are able to see the document or not, then I will proceed. All right, thank you very much for the feedback. So here you can see the 4 important points. As I was talking earlier, the 4 important points which will be tested in your IELTS speaking test. One is fluency and coherence. Second one is lexical resource. Third one is grammatical range and accuracy. And the fourth one is the pronunciation. So fluency and coherence. Do you know or do you understand what is it? What is this skill? Do you have any idea what is fluency and what is coherence? I want to know from you guys if you know what is fluency and what is coherence. I can see some comments that the document is not clear, but that's most likely because of your internet connection. So I want to be sure again if you guys are able to see the document clearly. So can anyone else write down in the chat box that you can see the document clearly? So I'm waiting for your feedback then. You can tell me if you are able to see the document clearly or not. Mm, I'm okay. Some of the participants can see the document clearly. So, for those who are not being able to see the document clearly, that's because of your internet connection, unfortunately. So, I think you should work on that. So, let me continue. Um, so, fluency and coherence. Some of you have written uh, the meaning of fluency. So fluency is talking fluent. One person has written it. Yes. So what is the definition of talking fluently? So I guess one simple definition is the idea to be able to talk without interruption. So that's fluency, or to be able to communicate yourself without much delay. So, uh, you can communicate, if you can communicate without much delay, if you can communicate thoroughly without having to feel hesitation, without being hesitated, then I can say that you are fluent on that particular language. So that's the fluency thing. Yeah, I have got one answer that fluency means speak smoothly and continuously. Yep, but the sentence is not correct. Fluency means speaking. You have to make the gerund here. Fluency means speaking smoothly and continuously. So yeah, you are right. That's one meaning of fluency. So what about coherence? What about coherence? Uh, I know that many of you actually knew the meaning of fluency, but what about coherence? Can anybody tell me the meaning of coherence? I'm waiting for your answer because it takes some time uh, for the live stream to get streamed. So it takes around 30 to 40 seconds. That's why I'm waiting for your answer regarding coherence. Do you have any idea what is coherence? Okay, I'm looking for the answers. I guess some of you do not know the meaning of coherence. So, but if you don't know, just you can write that you don't know about coherence, so that I can get to know that you do not know the meaning. One said understanding ability. Not that, actually, I'm afraid not that. Logical, yeah. That's one side of coherence, yeah. Tasneem. Um, Coherence meaning to connect words to express actual meaning. Yeah, connection of words. That's one hell of a point. Uh, Merda made. Rukul, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You have made a valid point and a very important point, which is to connect words. So to make meaningful sentences. Yeah, related with the topic. Yeah. Uh, so these are the actual definition or the correct definition of coherence. So actually, the coherence is if you are coherent, so the coherence is the ability to be able to connect the words logically to make some meaning, to make some meaningful sentences. So even your sentences have to be coherent. That means uh, your maybe you're beginning with one sentence and then you're ending up with other sentence, but these two sentences have to have the coherence with each other. That means these sentences have to be connected. uh, Otherwise your whole topic will be seen as a gloomy topic. So without coherent sentences you cannot express the full meaning. So for example, if you say something like the weather in the UK is cloudy today, because you're talking about the weather, you have said that the weather is cloudy today, then you have gone something like uh, uh, I would like to drink Coca-Cola or Pepsi. So you have told something like that. So it is actually not fitting with the whole scenario, because you're talking about the weather, but suddenly you have gone to drinking that you'd like to drink Coca-Cola. So that's the coherence is missing there. So we can say that the coherence is missing from your speaking. So your speaking has to be coherent. Your sentences has to have proper connection with each other. That means when you are building a script, when you are giving a topic to discuss, so when you are giving us a story, your storyline have to have that coherence ability. So your storyline, the sentences of your story should connect with each other strongly. So the connection and the relation between the sentences and even the words in the sentences have to be coherent. So they should make a meaning altogether. Maybe your sentences are not make a meaningful story at the end, then we can say that you're missing the coherence ability. So that's the thing about coherence. আমি যদি আপনাদেরকে অনেকে বলছেন যে ফর দ্য বাংলাদেশি স্টুডেন্টস অনেকে বলছেন যে আপনারা কোহেরেন্সের অর্থ জানেন না। আমি আবারও বলার চেষ্টা করি, এতক্ষণ ধরে বললাম, তবে অনেকের জন্য যদি একটু বুঝতে কষ্ট হয় আমি আবারও বলছি এই জন্য বাংলাতে, যে কোহেরেন্সটা হচ্ছে একটা বাক্যের সাথে আরেকটা বাক্য, আমি যখন একটা গল্প সাজাবো সেই গল্পের জন্য একটা বাক্যের সাথে আরেকটা বাক্যের যে সংযোগ প্রক্রিয়াটা আছে সেটা যাতে খুবই আহ, মধুর হয়। মানে আমি যখন একটা বাক্য বলবো এরপর আরেকটা যখন আরেকটা বাক্য বলবো আমি যাতে উল্টা পাল্টা না বলি, অর্থাৎ আমি যেহেতু একটা গল্প বলছি, একটা বিষয়ে আমি কথা বলছি, সেই বিষয়টা কথা বলার সময় আমি যেই বাক্যগুলো গঠন করছি সেটার যাতে ফ্লোটা, অর্থাৎ বাক্যের ফ্লোটা যাতে ঠিক থাকে, আমি হঠাৎ করে যাতে উল্টাপাল্টা আরেকটা কিছু না বলে বসি, অথবা আমার বাক্যগুলো দিয়ে যাতে একটা রিলেটেড স্টোরি বা একটা রিলেটেড গল্প ঠিক মতো আসে। আমার বাক্যগুলো দিয়ে যাতে মনে না হয় যে আমি দুইটা কথা একরকম বললাম আর একটা কথা আরেক রকম বললাম, তখন বলবো যে আমার স্টোরিতে কোহেরেন্স নাই। তো আমার বাক্যগুলো অথবা শব্দগুলো যে আছে আমার বাক্যের সেগুলো কোহেরেন্ট হতে হবে, একটা আরেকটার সাথে কানেকশন রিলেশন খুব ভালো করে এনশিওর করতে হবে। সো দ্যাটস দ্য কোহেরেন্স। এরপরে আমরা চলে আসি লেক্সিক্যাল রিসোর্সেস। সো ক্যান ইউ টেল মি what is the definition of lexical resource? What is the definition of lexical resource? Can you tell me? I'm waiting for your answer regarding the lexical resource. Um, Waiting for your answer regarding lexical resource, so I have to wait for a few seconds. So I'm waiting for your answer right now. Let's see what you guys think about lexical resource. What is lexical resource? One thing I want to know if you have understood the meaning of the coherence or not. So can you give me a feedback if you have understood the meaning of coherence or not? Please give me a feedback regarding the coherence. So have you understood the meaning of coherence? So um, Mithi said that vocabulary range. You're actually correct. Lexical resource. Yeah, words. Yeah, lexical resource means the vocabulary range. So this is the test of your lexical resources. And the speaking test will test the ability of your fluency, coherence, as well as the range of your words. How many or how many diverse words you know. So it will change. It will check your vocabularies. So the diversity of words. So many of us maybe we don't know much English words, so we don't know many English words because our lexical resources are weak. That's why the IELTS test ensure that you know a diverse range of specific words. So the diversity in your vocabulary is very important. They're not expecting you to know each and every English word. Even the natives do not know each and every English word, but they want you to be diverse. That means you should know many options. You should know many options for expressing one single thought. For example, uh, you are trying to tell something to the examiner, but you are using the same word again and again. Just pay attention. I am making a sentence that for informing something to your IELTS speaking examiner, you are using the same words again and again. So that's my sentence. For informing something to your IELTS examiner, you are saying or you are using the same words again and again. That's my sentence. So if I change the sentence that uh, to inform a story, you are using words repeatedly. You are using words repeatedly. So previously, I have used the words like again and again. Now I'm using the word repeatedly. So I guess now you have understood the point of using diverse set of words. So in previous case, I have used again and again three words for expressing one expression. But now in this case, I'm using repeatedly as one word for expressing the same expression. So this proves that I know a diverse set of words for expressing the same kind of thought. So it is very important to make sure in front of your examiner, that you have a knowledge of diverse set of vocabulary. So it is not necessary to know each and every English word, but it is very significant. It is very significant to understand that you have to show that you know or you have a diverse set of vocabulary in your bag. So that's the lexical resource part. So yeah, so have you understood the point regarding lexical resource? Have you understood the point or not? I want to know that. If you have understood the point, my point regarding the lexical resource, I am sharing my experiences with you. So from my experience, I can tell you that I can ensure you that you need to show that you know a diverse set of vocabulary. Otherwise, it will be tough to get a good band score even in your writing. In your writing, you have to make sure that you use diverse set of words. Do not use the same words repeatedly. So that's true for writing even. All right, thank you very much. Now let's go to the point of grammatical range and accuracy. So grammatical range and accuracy, for this, you have to be grammatically correct. So the basic grammatical structure of your sentences should be accurate. So we know about some basic grammatical structures uh, like the sentence structure, subject plus verb plus object. This should be the basic sentence structure. And when you are making sentences, one thing they consider very highly is the tense, that you are making good use of tense, or you are not being able to, whether you are not being able to use tense or not. So your sense of tense will have to be correct. So when you are talking about a scenario in the past, so you have to use the past tenses. So in this speaking test, there will be many occasions where you have to use the past tense, because maybe you're talking about a past case scenario, or maybe you are talking about a future case scenario, then you have to use the future tenses. So this is very important to understand and to remember. When you are talking about the past, you're using the past tense, and when you're talking about the future, using the future tense, and when you're talking about the present, of course, you're using the present tense. I know this seems a bit typical to you, but most of the cases, the examinees uh, make mistakes in this. So these are the very basic things. So I'm talking about the basic grammatical rules. I like, there can be error in using appropriate prepositions. For example, there can be error using appropriate prepositions in your sentence. So that's also a grammatical error. If you use the wrong appropriate preposition in wrong place, that's also a grammatical error, and that's also an inaccuracy. But the main mistake, or the major mistakes, happen in case of tense. So even maybe your one or two appropriate prepositional error may be ignored by the examiner, but they will not ignore the major mistakes, like making mistakes in using tense. So you have to be assured before getting into the IELTS Viva or IELTS speaking interview that you are using your tenses correctly. So I would request you all to practice when you are uh, giving when you're talking about a scenario, you should practice talking about the scenario in past case and in future case as well. That's how you will be familiarizing yourself with the use of different tenses. So that's one point, but there are many other aspects of the grammatical range. Of course, when you are using the passive sentence, you should be able to make passive sentences as well. So they will be look forward for that. And there are many forms of sentences. For example, we can talk in simple sentence, we can talk in complex sentence and compound sentence as well. So they will look forward for that if you are being able to make complex sentences or compound sentences. So do not uh, just use the simple sentences. You have to make use of complex and compound sentences as well. So now I would like to know whether are you are comfortable about the meaning of complex and compound sentence. So do you know what is complex sentence, or do you know what is compound sentence? Right now I'm waiting for your answer in the chat box. What is complex sentence? What is compound sentence? I'm waiting for you in the chat box for your answer. Abdi Manik, you have asked something? I don't know. I can't see your other comment. If you have any question, you can post it right now again. I'll be answering your questions if you have any. So I have asked you a question regarding the complex and compound sentence. So do you know the meaning? Do you know the definition? So I'm waiting for your answer right now. Okay, if you do not know, then you can write that you do not know the meaning of complex and compound sentence. You can write that too, no problem. Yeah, I can see some answers. Like a compound complex sentence has two independent clauses joined to one or more dependent clauses. Yeah, actually, a complex sentence is a sentence with one independent clause and with at least one dependent clause. So there may be multiple dependent clauses. So, but at least you have to have one dependent clause. Uh, for example, let me give you an example. Just listen to me carefully. So, if I say, uh, when the pizza gets hot, you may take it out from the oven. When the pizza gets hot, you may take it out from the oven. So here there is two clauses. One is dependent, another one is independent. So I have told you that when the pizza is hot, when the pizza gets hot or is hot, no matter. So when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. So when the pizza gets hot, that's one clause that is separated by comma with other clause. If you write it down, it will be that way. So when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven, or you may take it out from the oven. So that's the sentence. So there are two clauses. So what is the dependent clause here, and what is the independent clause here? So again, I'm telling you the sentence. When the pizza gets hot, you may take it out from the oven, or when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. So here, which part is the dependent clause and which part is the independent clause? Can you write it down? Can you write it down in my sentence? Which part is the dependent clause and which part is the independent clause? So there will be two parts. Basically, in the complex sentence, there will be two parts. So one part will be dependent, one part will be independent. So you can, my sentence is, when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. So that's my sentence. So here, what is the dependent clause and what is the independent clause? That's my question. You may write it down in the chat box. So I'm waiting for your answer in the chat box. If you don't know, you can write. I'm waiting for your answer regarding the complex sentence. Yeah, you should use conjunction. You should use conjunction, and you can also write what is the conjunction in my sentence that I have given you. When the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. Here, what is the conjunction? Yeah, I have repeated it multiple times. When the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. That's the sentence. So in this sentence, what is the conjunction and what is the dependent clause and what is the independent clause? So that's my question. You should answer it. So I'm waiting for your answer. Tasnim, you were right about the conjunction, but I wanted to know in my sentence which part is the dependent clause and which part is the independent clause. So a dependent clause, so let me give you the definition. A dependent clause in complex sentence will be the condition which depends uh, from the other, which depends on the other condition, other clause, that means. So when the pizza gets hot is the condition. So this is the condition. When the pizza gets hot is the condition. And take it out from the oven. So this part, the independent clause part, it can be one sentence on its own. So that's the criteria to understand. Exactly, Rima is correct. So that's the criteria to understand. So the independent clause can make a simple sentence on its own. So I'm talking about when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. So when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. This take it out from the oven, it can be a sentence by itself. Take it out from the oven. This is a complex sentence. So just focus on that. Take it out from the oven. This is one complete sentence. But we are making two clauses connected together with the conjunction when. So the fact is, when the pizza gets hot, if you think like this way, when the pizza gets hot, this part of the sentence, it cannot make a sentence by itself. So if you tell something like when the pizza gets hot, is this a sentence? No, this will not make a complete sentence. So that's why this is the dependent clause in the complex sentence, and the other part was take it out from the oven. So this will be the independent clause because it can make a sentence on its own. So this is the, because if I say take it out from the oven, it's an imperative sentence, right? It's a kind of imperative sentence. I'm giving you order, take it out from the oven. So this is a sentence on its own. But when I'm making two clauses connected together with the conjunction when, so the sentence is when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. So when the pizza gets hot, it cannot make sentence on your own. So it will be the dependent clause, and take it out from the oven will be the independent clause in this case. And these two clauses are connected with one conjunction. Yeah, yeah. So I am seeing some answers in the feedback. You're going in the right direction, that I can assure. So yes, you're right about the conjunction and the uh, dependent and independent clause. So have you understood this? Have you understood this? My feedback regarding the complex sentence, that you have to make complex sentences in your speech while you're speaking, to show that you know the grammatical structures, or you can make complex sentences. And compound sentences is like connecting two independent clauses with like and or not. For example, uh, if I say that now it's 10 a.m. and it is gloomy outside, these are two independent clauses connected by and. So this is a compound sentence. So the difference between the complex sentence and the compound sentence is that the complex sentence can exist um, without there will be two clauses. So the complex sentence, one dependent clause, it cannot exist without the independent clause. But in compound sentence, those are those will be two independent clauses, and that can uh, of course that can be the sentence on their own. So let me write something, I guess. Yeah, okay. So when the pizza gets hot, take it out from the oven. So here the first part is the dependent clause, and the second part is the independent clause when is the connecting conjunction. Now in compound sentences um, there will be two independent clauses, two or more independent clauses. So now it's 10 a.m. in the morning and the weather is gloomy outside. So if I write like this way, then it's a compound sentence. We are connecting two independent clauses, two or more independent clauses together. So the fact is, the difference between a complex and compound sentence, that here there will be at least one dependent clause in the complex sentence that cannot stand alone without the independent clause. But in compound sentence, there will the both clauses will be independent. So this is an independent sentence on its own. This is another independent sentence on its own, and you are connecting these both sentences, independent clauses, with and. So you can use and or not, whatever. So that's the main difference. I hope you have understood this. Have you understood this? Now I want your feedback here regarding the complex and compound sentence, and you have to use more and more complex sentences and compound sentences when you speak. So that's one of the criteria to ensure your good band score in the IELTS speaking test in the grammatical range as well. So have you understood my feedback regarding the complex and compound sentence? I want to know that. Yeah, thank you very much. All right, I hope that you have understood. But the main point I want to make that you have to use more and more complex and compound sentences in your speech. The fourth one is pronunciation. So pronunciation is different from accent. So can you tell me what is accent and what is pronunciation and why they're different? Can you tell me that? Okay, thank you for the feedbacks. So I'm waiting for your answer. Is there any difference between pronunciation and accent? Like, you have to be accurate in your pronunciation, but your accent doesn't matter in IELTS. So there is no marking for your accent. So if you talk like a British or if you talk like an American, it doesn't matter because in IELTS test, your accent is not getting tested. Rather, your pronunciation of words are being tested. Whether you are being able to pronounce the words correctly in a correct way or not, in a correct manner or not, whether you have an accent like a British or whether you have an accent like an American, that doesn't even matter because they're looking for only the pronunciation. So you can talk like a Bangladeshi. So your accent can be like a Bangladeshi. No problem. Rima, no problem. Accents are beautiful. So you can have different accent. I am talking like a Bangladeshi. Uh, for giving you example, I'm not talking like a native British. Even I cannot talk like a British because that's not my accent. I am not a native English speaker. So the fact is, yeah, pronunciation is like making the correct sound for the word. So, but accent is different. I guess uh, you can be sure of my accent that I'm from Bangladesh, right? or I'm from the subcontinent. You can easily understand from my accent. So I do not have an accent like British, so or an American. So that's totally uh, understandable. So they're not expecting us to talk like British or American, or to talk in an accent like British or American. They're expecting us to pronounce the words correctly. So if you can pronounce the words correctly, that will be all right. That will be all right. So you do not need to change your accent for the IELTS speaking test. That I can assure you. You do not need to change your accent. Rather, change how you pronounce the words. So try to pronounce the words correctly. Just for an example, the uh, word pronunciation. So it can be pronounced in different way. So I'm telling you the word is pronunciation. Is pronunciation. Some of you can pronounce it like pronunciation. That's the wrong pronunciation of the word pronunciation. So the word should be pronounced like pronunciation. It's pronunciation, not pronunciation. So you got my point. Have you got my point? Like I'm now I'll be looking to the feedback box. So the word should be pronounced correctly. So the word pronunciation is pronunciation, not pronunciation. So that has nothing to do with accent. That has nothing to do with accent. Accent is different. Accent is the way of talking. So British uh, has a different accent. Even we Bangladeshi, uh, we have a different accent. So you can have different accents, and different accents are beautiful. Here I'm studying in the UK right now. I am hearing a lot of different accents from the people from Africa. They have different accent. People from China, they have different accent. People from the Middle East, they have different accent. People from Europe, they have different accent. And even we are being able to understand uh, who is from which part of the world from their accent. So that's the beauty of accents. You should have a different accent if you are from a different part of the world. So there is nothing wrong with having a different kind of accent. My suggestion is that you should not imitate the accent of others. Rather, you should be proud of your own accent. So that's my point, that you should be proud about your own accent. I am proud of my Bangladeshi accent, and I have achieved a band score of 8 in my IELTS exam. But I'm totally proud of my Bangladeshi accent. So that's the point I want to make, that you should have accurate pronunciation, but your accent doesn't matter. You should practice your own accent. So I hope you can understand my point. So have you got my point? Manzurul Haq, I guess I have already clarified the differences between pronunciation and accent. Accent is the way of talking, like making expressions uh, in a particular way, like British or American. When you listen to them, you understand that they're from America, or when you listen to them, you understand that they're from India because of their accent, because of their way of talking. So that's the accent. And pronunciation is making sound of a particular word. So for example, I have given you an example of pronunciation. This word should be pronounced like this: pronunciation, not pronunciation. That will be a wrong pronunciation. Thank you very much for the feedback. So now I guess we're now done with uh, these four descriptions of four different descriptors of the IELTS speaking test. So number one, let's review. Number one is fluency and coherence, where you have to be fluent. You have to be able to communicate without much delay or without much interruption. The second one is the lexical resource, where you have to ensure that you have a diverse set of vocabulary in your bag. So you know how to implement a diverse set of vocabularies. And the third one is grammatical range and accuracy. So you have to be grammatically correct. For example, you have to use correct form of tense. You have to use correct form of appropriate preposition here and there, but you should not make basic major mistakes like not being able to make structure of a sentence, make proper structure of a sentence, which is subject plus verb plus object. So this is the basic structure. So you should be able to make the basic sentences, and you should be able to apply the basic grammatical rules. For example, one significant rule is tense. So you have to implement accurate tenses in your sentences. And I have told you regarding the different form of sentences, like simple sentence, complex sentence, and compound sentence. So you should try to make as much as possible. You should be able to make complex and compound sentences as much as possible. So the more you make use of complex or compound sentence, the more it gets clearer to the it gets clear to the examiner that you are being able to implement different grammatical range. So that's one point I want to make, that you should be able to make lots and lots of complex and compound sentences in your speaking and in your writing as well. Write it down for your writing exam. It's very important to be able to make complex and compound sentence there in your writing as well. So that's a very, and you have to be grammatically accurate in your writing as well. So the speaking and writing is somehow connected in this way, that you have to make use of grammar on your own. You have to be grammatically correct in your writing and your speaking. You will be judged for your grammatical correctness, for your grammatical range in your writing as well as in your speaking. And the fourth point here is the pronunciation. So the pronunciation has to be correct, but there is nothing to do with accent. Your accent might be anything. Your accent can be from Bangladesh, and you should be proud of your accent. So imitating others' accent is not something that I encourage personally. So it is not needed for the IELTS exam. So I do not encourage it personally because I'm proud of my own accent. It shows that I'm from Bangladesh. So I'm proud of my own accent. Accent is like an identity. And in my opinion, you should not try to imitate others' identity. You should try to use your own identity, and you should be proud of your own identity. But yes, the fact is you have to use the proper pronunciation of sentences. For example, uh, if you look at my pronunciation, in most of the cases, it is correct. So I am being able to pronounce the words as they are. So I'm being able to pronounce the words correctly. For example, I have given you an example of the word pronunciation itself. It should be pronunciation, not pronunciation. So these are the facts that you have to remember when you are attending your IELTS speaking test. Uh, so now my discussion here regarding the IELTS speaking test of today's class concludes. Now I'm open for your questions. If you have any questions right now regarding today's lecture, you can ask me. I'm waiting for your question. After that, I'll be ending the class, so I'm open for any questions right now. Um, I'm open for any question right now, so if you want to ask me a question, you can ask. Then I'll be ending the session. Do you conduct other module than this live class? No, currently I'm here in the hassle-free education for conducting the speaking module. No, the other module in hassle-free education, no. Just the speaking module here in hassle-free education. Do you have any other questions? I'm waiting for your questions. If you have any other questions, you can ask me. Okay. If you do not have other questions, okay. Let me know about the me know about the homework. Um, the homework is you should make a video. As I'm your speaking instructor, that's why I want this. You should make a video regarding this class. What have you learned about these 4 points? That's my first question. What have you learned about fluency and coherence? What have you learned about pronunciation? What have you learned about lexical resources? And what have you learned about the grammatical range? So you should explain these 4 points. What have you learned about all of them, all of these 4 points of IELTS speaking test? What have you learned about? So that's my first question. And the last question is how have you liked this class? How much have you liked this class? Did you like this class or not? If you have, why? So that's another question. Have you liked this class? If the answer is yes, why? If the answer is no, why? So you have to explain like this way. So 2 questions in your homework for this class. How to improve fluency and coherence? That's a good question, Tasnim Begum. For improving fluency, there is an easy answer for this. For improving fluency, you have to talk a lot. You have to practice speaking English a hell lot. So that's one of the answers. And the other question, how to improve coherence. For improving coherence, it's important to write. So if you are being able to write a good story, if you are being able to connect the dots of the story, then your coherence ability will get better. So if you want to improve your coherence, writing is the key. Then you can also improve your coherence in speaking as well, because you can write coherently. When you will be able to write coherently, you will be able to speak coherently. So that's my theory. How I will find I'll speaking topics related vocabulary? You should watch BBC News. You should watch BBC News. There will be a lot of vocabularies used. But I am not in favor of recommending you the list of vocabularies that these 500 words or these 1000 words are necessary or useful for IELTS. No, I am in not favor of that, because IELTS is a test of natural English, of judging natural English ability, of judging natural English speaking ability, reading ability, listening ability, and writing ability. I'm not in favor of recommending you to just go through 1000 words. I guess IELTS, in my opinion, IELTS doesn't work like that way. You have to learn naturally. So I'm not in favor of giving you a list of 1000 sentences. Rather, I'll recommend you to increase your set of vocabularies from reading uh, the English magazines, English articles, and from listening to the resources like BBC News and others, like movies and all. So that's my recommendation. If classes taken using Bengali, then may be more helpful for me. That's one point I can understand, but the fact is here that here we have, I guess, some international students in our class. That's why maybe we're not being able to conduct the classes fully in Bengali. But yes, learning in mother tongue is always fun, but the point is we are learning English. That's why if we can develop our listening skills as well, that will be a good one. For example, in this class, you're also developing your listening skills, which will be useful in your IELTS listening test. So here, for example, you're learning about IELTS speaking module, but you're listening to me for over an hour. I'm talking in English. So your listening ability is also increasing. So that's the point of this whole class. Thank you very much for the compliments, Manzarul Haq. Uh, Thank you very much for the compliments, Sayed Mon. Uh, Thank you very much. So I guess now I'm going to end the class with this good note, and I wish you all the very best, all of the happiness of the world. May you smile forever. Allah Hafiz.